What up, everybody? It is Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, so you know what that means. It's time for the Fantasy Football Show with no name.
Absolutely none.
Host Clintonian, or some people call me Champ, and my boy Ferg, Big Jeff over here, rolling his eyes at me already. This should be a live one, folks. What up, Ferg? How you doing?
What's going on? What's going on, people? It's Wednesday. We're here. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about some fantasy football, bro. So first of all, how did you do? Did you win? Did you lose? What you got?
All right. So as we talked about before, I'm in 11 leagues. Last week I was at the bottom of the barrel, 1-10. This week though, we came back strong, 8-3, 8-3. And our
All right.
I do believe one of my victories was a win over the guy right here. Did you see
was
over
indeed
there, that guy?
this guy. Yeah.
But in our league of record, I did fall to our boy Mike Barbie. 116 100. I had some very piss poor performances for some big name guys. I guess we'll get into them in a little while. But yeah. But overall, I can complain. I can hold my head high. It wasn't a terrible Tuesday this week.
8-3 is solid, bro. 8-3 solid, and it sucks that you lost at Hoofnagel, but 8-3 solid, bro. And yes, you did beat me in Lucky 13. Whatever. All I needed was 14.5 points from Amari Cooper, and he shit the bed. So there's that. All right. So in our league of record, I did well. I won 142-94. So I mean, continue to be impressed with this Detroit backfield, as we were talking a little bit beforehand. Ferg, DeAndre Swift got over 20 points for the second time this year in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, 20 points, 3 weeks, half-point PPR. You guys, this kid gets the ball all the time. Jamal Williams came in another solid performance at 14. Now, I did not start both of them, but it was really Rodgers, Swift, and Mark Andrews that carried me. Mark Andrews finally showed up, so that was really, really, really nice. Like, really nice. I very much enjoyed that. And, winning always feels good.
Always feels good. Yeah. Let's jump back to the guy we just talked about for a moment.
Oh, geez.
2 weeks in a row, Amari Cooper.
Oh, my. Oh.
Got my eyes on you, Amari. You, Amari Cooper.
He's already hurting my feelings, Ferg, because I should be 3-0 in that league. Instead, I'm not. I am 1-2. So it is not my favorite thing that he's been shit in the bed. He was my number one receiver that I picked in that draft. And just because he's Dak's guy. I mean, look, week one, he came out the gate, went 12 for 160 and 2 or something like that. I mean, it was nuts.
That was the dude had a bar
game. Yeah, I know, right? 2 weeks ago, but yes, it feels like 2 years ago. All right, so gold stars of the week. Ferg, I'm going to start, man, because I feel good about this one. It's not often that these folks get mentioned on fantasy shows. Actually, they are shunned by fantasy owners sometimes. They stream different kickers. They feel like they need to draft a kicker, but I have always been a big proponent. Somebody that's going to get you 10-plus points a week, draft him. Draft him. Not high, because nobody's going to draft kickers high. But draft a Justin, gold star. Draft a Mason Crosby, gold star. Draft a Dan Carlson, the Las Vegas Raiders. All three of these guys could kick game-winning field goals. Now, Carlson had 13 this week, game-winning field goal. Mason Crosby had 16 points this week, game field goal. Justin Tucker. In some leagues, this 26 points. In our league of record, he had 17. But he also, if you guys missed it, this guy kicked a 66-yard field goal. Now, folks, just to put this in perspective, if you stand on the 50-yard line and back up 28 feet, this is where this guy was kicking from. 66 yards, guys. It's ridiculous. So, mad props, gold star to all three of those kickers that won their teams the game and won some fantasy players, some fantasy managers won them the game. I mean, you're going to win if your kicker gets 17 points. That's I would say 95% of the time, unless everybody else just shit the bed really bad. And my last gold star is got to go to Mr. Myles Garrett. Holy crap. 19 and a half fantasy points, 6 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, and 4.5 sacks. Poor Justin
Fields is still thinking about him.
He got lit up 9 times. 9. That's a lot. That's the second most in the fantasy football era for a new quarterback. And it was Greg McElroy with 11 in his debut. I thought David Carr got sacked a lot when the Texans were just coming into existence back in 2000, 2001, and he got sacked over 100 times in the year. So 9 isn't good. 9 isn't good. So those are mine. Ferg, what you got?
All right, our gold stars. Before I jump too far, just let you know the Fantasy Football Show with no name being sponsored this week again by Phoenix Therapy and Wellness at 500 Benson Road in Garner, North Carolina. Any of your wellness, you're recovering from physical therapy, injury, surgery, call up Angel at 919-410-7312. She will get you back right like our gold star players got right. I went with some of our usual suspects this week. Josh Allen, 32 of 43, 358 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. And if that wasn't enough, they let him run the ball 4 times. He scored another rushing touchdown.
He showed up for his fantasy owners finally.
Every week. So, of course, Devontae again, 12 catches, 132 yards and a touchdown. San Francisco defense, you should be ashamed of yourself on that last defense you played in the last 37 seconds of that game. But that's a whole nother story.
With no timeouts, bro.
With no timeouts. Cooper Kupp again. I looked up something today because I didn't think that it was correct. But in PPR leagues, regular 1-point PPR leagues, Cooper Kupp is the leading scorer. That's over every quarterback as well. 9 catches, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Think about this for a second. Patrick Mahomes has not had the year that Patrick Mahomes normally has through 3 weeks, right? So that's understandable. Tom Brady would be the closest one, or him or Lamar Jackson would be the top 2 if you're asking me. But wow, like that's a crazy stat. But this dude is the number 1 wide receiver too, so that doesn't really in half-point PPR, and so that doesn't surprise me at all. Ferg, I mean, he's 2 touchdowns a game, bro.
Another guy that we've been looking for that seems like he's here to stay. Might not be good news for Keenan Allen owners, but Mike Williams, 7 catches for 122 yards.
Boy.
Mike
Man,
Williams,
when he came out of USC, he was supposed to be that guy.
Mike Williams is that guy now. That might be that guy in that offense. Herbert seems to favor him when he gets in trouble. Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
If Nick Chubb wasn't in that backfield, Kareem Hunt would be talking about MVP type numbers. But he went 10. He just went 10 for 81 and a touchdown. But then he threw in 6 catches for another 75 yards. I'll take that every week.
Every day.
A name we haven't heard in a while. Emmanuel Sanders, 5 catches, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
2. Yep.
And then I need to give my boy some love today. I went to the back of the closet for this one.
Manny Sanders. Well, you have to go to the back of the closet to get Jets.
Sam Darnold, 23 of 34, 304 yards. The biggest part with that, he didn't throw a touchdown pass, but no picks. But then he got 8 carries inside the 10-yard line for 2 touchdowns. I'll take some of that. And then you and I talked off camera beforehand. If you have Raiders running backs, and you probably took Jacobs in the first 20 picks, Peyton Barber absolutely destroyed last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's smoke or fire, bro. To be honest, Peyton Barber's like, come on. Are you Peyton Barber? Probably not. So I don't think he's going to do that this week.
And then a guy that we always seem to have to talk about once or twice a year because Dalvin Cook stays hurt. Alexander Madison, 26
he had a game.
Didn't score a touchdown, but then he threw in 6 catches for another 59 yards. And then New England receiving core gets a lot of hell, especially since Brady left. But Kendrick Bourne, former San Francisco 49er. 6 catches, 96 yards, a touchdown. That's to all of those guys right there. Good job. Good job in week 3. Most of those guys, a lot of those guys available in your waiver wires, especially Darnold and Bourne.
Yes.
Then one I left off, Dalton Schultz from the Cowboys. When's the last time we talked about a Cowboys tight end? 6 catches, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Part of the reason why
And he looked good.
Hey.
He looked good, and Dak looked for him. So a couple things real quick. Justin, what up? Lamb, I understand what you're saying. He's definitely more explosive. To me, he is definitely the better receiver, but Amari still gets 22% of the target share, where CeeDee Lamb is like somewhere in the low 20%. So it's just it's close, but that first week he targeted Amari Cooper 19 times, and that's going to go a long way. And Lauren, I don't know. I don't know. It depends. Is this a dynasty draft or is this a redraft? Because if it's a redraft, I would say little to none at this moment in time. I mean, he's always hurt. He plays through a lot of it, but he's always hurt. And he's going to get the carries if he's in there. Okay,
it's a redraft.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything crazy. What are you trying to let us know what you're trying to get for him, like what positions you need or whatever. And let's go to the Burnett's bottom shelf players of the week. Ferg, who you got for us this week?
All right, so we talked about him a little bit earlier, and we pumped him up last week as a waiver pickup, especially if you're in a 2 QB or a super flex league.
Oh man,
but Justin Fields, that was a stinker. 6 for 20 for 68 yards, 3 rushes for 12 yards, sacked, as you stated earlier, 9 times.
9.
We'll give this guy the 5 o'clock Gin Award. Tyson. We jumped on the Tyson bandwagon. We jumped on his bandwagon because the Ravens had to give the ball to somebody. He gave us 5 carries for 22 yards. The aforementioned Miles Sanders. Now, I don't know if Miles Sanders is bad or if Nick Sirianni is a bad play caller. Because Miles Sanders had 27 yards, but he only had 2 carries. Then he got 3 carries. 28 yards. So he was averaging, what are we talking about, 13 yards a carry, and he got 2 carries.
2. However, in the game script, they were getting pummeled.
They were.
Now, Miles Sanders at 13.5 clip, like, you got to give him the ball. That's a first down every time. So, wide receiver. Okay, let me think on that for a second. Go ahead, Ferg.
All right. I don't think that Belichick dislikes this guy. I just don't know what's going on with Damian Harris. 6 carries for 14 yards. Thought he was going to get on the PPR stage maybe. He got 1 catch for -3 yards. And I heard all week, we talked about it last week, that Ronald Jones was in Arians' shit house. But then here comes Fournette with 4 carries for 8 yards. And then he threw in 3 catches for 26. But it's supposed to be playoff Lenny. I heard playoff Lenny was the number 1 QB for probably the best offense in the NFC South right now. And he had 8 yards. And then this stat line, you have to excuse us. We were on the hype train. We pumped up Rondale Moore. I don't know if it's just too many wide receivers in Arizona. He had 3 targets, 2 catches, 1 yard.
Yeah.
When I
think
saw
there's
that,
a lot of people.
Looked at it again. Is that possible? 3 targets, 2 catches, 1 yard. So
1 yard.
He definitely gets a 5 o'clock Gin Award for the week. I'll personally drop that off at his house in Glendale or wherever he lives. But
I would say give one to Sirianni too, bro.
Yeah, you can let us know who your shit guys were. We just absolutely shit it all over you. But
who lost you your week? Who lost you your week or almost lost you your week? So Lauren, I got somebody good that would be very intriguing to somebody if they were looking for a running back, especially somebody that no matter if he's hurt or not, if he's playing, he's getting 20 carries, maybe an Antonio Brown, something like that. That may carry some weight. I mean, the name alone of Josh Jacobs because he's been so good for fantasy for the last 2 years, he's been a top 10 running back. And he does stay hurt, and there is a lot of feet in that backfield in Vegas. But maybe an Antonio Brown, or I mean, if you throw in somebody else, maybe you can get like a Jamar Chase, maybe something like that, or DJ Chark. Like I think you're somewhere in that range of wide receivers. Like a low end wide receiver 2 is probably what you're looking at. Although Ferg, I got a question for you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And anybody that wants to answer this question out there in YouTube land, I need some help. So I have a league that I'm in that I need to win. Okay. I need to win. I have Allen Robinson, who I drafted very high, who nobody fucking knows what's going on. You're welcome, Lauren. Nobody knows what's going on in Chicago with the quarterback situation. Is it Justin Fields? Is it Nick Foles for some reason? Or is Andy Dalton going to come back at not 100%? So I have Antonio Brown sitting on my bench. So do I play Allen Robinson or do I play Antonio Brown? Because Justin Jefferson is my other wide receiver. There is no flex spot. The flex spot is a super flex, so it's a quarterback. So I'm starting Kirk Cousins there because I have Lamar Jackson and Kirk Cousins as my quarterback. So I'm starting those in the flex. But Allen Robinson or Antonio Brown? I mean, going back to Cleveland, we'll talk about this. Going back to New England, we'll talk about this in a little while. But what say you on that?
I am so in complete transparency. I am in a dynasty league with our friend Lauren here, and I have Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson was a stalwart, a beast last week. A combination of Allen Robinson, OBJ, and some other guys.
Yep.
He was money every week.
Yep.
So, in fairness, I own Allen Robinson.
Yep.
I'm gonna give him one more week because I have I have some waiver guys. I can juggle some other guys that I have around, but I'm giving Allen Robinson one more week, and then he is on the trade block in every league that I have. Now for this week, though, I'm gonna go AB because although AB wasn't in New England 20 years like Tom in his revenge factor, I think AB probably still wants to stick the middle finger to Belichick for letting him go after one game?
Who doesn't?
So I'm gonna say that Tom looks for 8. I'm sad because I don't want to sit Godwin or Edwards. Never would do that anyway. But I feel like Gronk and AB and Brady just put up a triumvirate of about 250 yards between those two guys, and maybe 3 touchdowns.
I would love nothing more than that. I would love nothing more than that. I want to address some of this on that we have here in the comments. So I agree for sure, Adrian, with Brown if he's healthy. I think I'm gonna he's been activated. They say he's gonna be activated from the COVID list. My issue here is that Allen Robinson is playing Detroit. Okay. And so, yes, Antonio Brown and Tom Brady are in New England. Antonio Brown is still the number 3 choice. Allen Robinson's still the number 1 choice. He's still getting 9 to 10 targets a game. They're just really shitty targets. And so that's where my problem comes into play. Okay. And I have Anthony tried to trade him. I actually made some very, very aggressive trade offers, and nobody's biting this early. For some reason, I'm still putting the bait out there. And Lauren, yes, I mean, he's going to win this game. He's definitely going to win this game. I'm going to put a 0.0 chance that New England wins, right? 0.0. And Brady's going to break. He's gonna be the first one to be one of the only ones to beat all 32 teams. He's gonna break Drew Brees' passing record in the first quarter. It's like 68 yards to go in New England, and things didn't end well. So it's gonna be a very I am super freaking excited about this. Yeah, he's gonna break Brees. I mean, what are you gonna do? And you know what's funny is that Brees is gonna be on the call. He's going to be not on the call. He's going to be in the studio for Sunday Night Football because that's what he does now, apparently. So, I like Breeze. I'm not a Brady hater. I like to see when people break records. I like to see when people win championships, unless it's Villanova in 2016. But other than that, I like to see people win championships. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that. We don't have that kind of show. Hey, anybody out there? Who shit on you this week? Who made you lose, or who made you thought you were going to lose? As I said, mine personally was Amari Cooper. Needed 14.5 points in a full point. I'll repeat that more quietly. In a full point PPR. 14 points. I lost. AJ Brown, what are you going to do? He's hurt. What are you going to do? It's like, now Julio's hurt, by the way.
Before we jump to our next question, if you're talking about Brady, can we just acknowledge that you and I are about 80 miles apart, maybe 90, 100 miles apart from each other?
110 or so, yeah.
And we are now commenting and talking with somebody in Baltimore, Arizona, in Virginia. I don't know if he's watching or not last week. I know we brought Canada into the mix last week in the comments. So we just want to thank you guys for tuning in. Tell your friends. I know you're probably bored. Your clothes are probably washing. You don't really have anything else to do, but we just want to thank you for giving us a few minutes of your Wednesday night. Yeah, that's all we had to say. Thank you. Hey, fam.
No doubt. All right. So let's go starts and sits.
Okay.
For the week. Did we already talk about this?
No, we talked about that. We can jump to that.
I mean, we talked about a lot of it, though. Fields and Robinson, Swan, sit him. Fournette, sit him. Hollywood Brown, sit him. He's been terrible the last 2 weeks. Those 2 touchdowns he dropped last week. Can we talk about that? Or sorry, was it 3 touchdowns he dropped last week? It was definitely 2, and they were right inside the end zone. It was one of the craziest things. And he was the thing is he was like turned around and looking at them and still couldn't catch them. It reminded me of a bad Madden game.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that. Devin Singletary. I mean, Zach Moss was a vulture Sunday. That's what happens. Zach Moss, they wanted him to be the guy, and then he sucked really bad last year, and then he got hurt. So, but Bill's running backs have not been anything since Thurman Thomas. Well, who we got since Thurman Thomas that have been up? Frank Gore, he's been in Buffalo, right?
Where hasn't Frank Gore been?
Yeah, true. So Juju getting hurt, yeah, man. I mean, that's tough. And with Pitts, Matt Ryan sucks this year, dude. I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. I don't know what's happening there. But this dude is a consistent 40 passes a week, 350 yards a week, at least 2 touchdowns. But this guy has thrown pick after pick after pick after pick this year. And losing Julio hurt. They don't have the other threat that they need because they don't have a running game. No. And Mike Davis is terrible. I don't even know what to say. I don't know why he was so terrible this year when he was great-ish last year.
Ish.
So, yeah, ish. I mean, ish. So, Fuller can make a difference, bro. Absolutely. This dude is one of the fastest guys in the league. You got to have Ferg call Jacoby and give him a little pep talk and tell him to throw to Will instead of Jalen Waddle or Devontae Parker. I don't know what's going on with that guy. He was a difference maker 2 years ago in fantasy, and now he can't see a pass or the end zone. So, but Jacoby Brissett makes that big of a difference. So, but yes, Will Fuller, as long as he gets comfortable with him, I'd say absolutely. And he saw him a lot. On the opposite side of the field, because Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback / backup for Indianapolis for so long, and they played Houston every year. And so he saw Will Fuller a lot. So I would assume that would mean something, but who knows? So, all right. So who you got on the sits of the week there? For who are you not playing?
I'm not playing. All right, so I'm not going to play Juju. We talked about Juju over here in the comments. I'm not pulling with Juju this week. I love Denver defense and the way that it's set up and the way they've been playing so far, but I'm not fooling with Denver defense against Lamar. Not this week. New England defense looks great against rookie quarterbacks. They look great against Winston. He may as well be a rookie quarterback. But I'm not fooling with New England's defense against Brady in a revenge game this week. Not at all. All Arizona running backs, no. Kenny Golladay, a guy you probably took to maybe be your 3 or your flex. New Orleans, if Marshawn Lattimore is playing this week and he's going to match up against Golladay, I'm going to sit him. And then you and I put a star next to this one because we talked about it before we came on. Mr. Hopkins, he does have a rib injury. We saw it last week. He's not himself. I don't know what kind of magic that they could put on him that would make him be back to D-Hop, the D-Hop that we know. But if he's hurt and he's going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, if you happen to be a great enough GM that has another wide receiver on your bench, this might be the one.
Like an Antonio Brown.
Yeah. If you had an Antonio with some other guys, I might sit Hopkins. Now, if Hopkins is your guy, you're one of those guys that took 0 RB and you went Hopkins in the first round, you probably have no choice but to run him out there. But if you got other guys.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Ferg.
Okay.
At what point does draft capital stop mattering? At what week does it stop mattering? So you have Hopkins. He is hurt-ish. He does have a bad matchup for sure, right? Because you know if he's on the field, Jalen's going to be on him. But you drafted D-Hop to be your number 1 wideout, right? So, like, just like me with Allen Robinson, but I think D-Hop's a better play this week. I mean, a better play overall than Allen Robinson. But it's just like you draft this dude to be your number 1 wide receiver. You pick up Antonio Brown, for instance, in the 9th round, right? So at what point in the year does draft capital stop mattering?
To me, I'm pretty much done after like week 2 because I can see, like we can see the Jets defense, you're going to be terrible. Panthers defense, better than we thought it was going to be. So I'm more of a matchup guy. If I know that Brady lets this man live in his house and that he's his bestest friend on the field all of a sudden, and they're both going back to New England, I will bite the bullet. It's week 3. It's not like it's week 15 and we're in a playoff game no matter what league you're in. I probably bite the bullet and I say, okay, if the fantasy gods hate me, they're just going to have to hate me. I'm sitting Hopkins if I get a juicy matchup like that, like a Antonio Brown going back to New England against those terrible defenses. I don't know.
All right, so then what about a Jamar Chase? What about a Jamar Chase or a D-Hop? I mean, with the matchup on Thursday night against a terrible Jacksonville defense with no T. Higgins, just you, Joe Mixon, and Tyler Boyd out there.
Okay, I would say, my opinion, if you can start 3 wide receivers and you still have somebody to replace Hop, sit them. But if I can only start 2 guys and I got Hopkins, somebody else, and then Jamar Chase, I mean, I probably still have to go Hopkins and Chase depending on who my other guy, unless you were just ridiculously lucky you were in the turn or something and you got Hopkins and Cup or something like that, something crazy like that. But or in a keeper league, you have like a Cooper Cup and Hopkins, and then you got I don't know who else is got. That would be great in a keeper league, but
that would be very nice.
I'm all Hopkins. I'm all off Hopkins this week. I just feel if he scores more than 9 fantasy points, I'd be surprised.
You know what? That's a good line. Less than 10. That's a good line.
Yeah.
So starts of the week, I got Jamar Chase. Aforementioned Mr. Chase, great matchup. He's got 4 touchdowns and 11 catches. We talked about this off air. 4 touchdowns, 11 catches. This dude's been great this year. He did have upsies, but I think you have to start him. I think he's a must start, especially in a league where you have a flex spot. Nick Chubb, he's an every week start, obviously. But man, they're just on a roll. That backfield, them in Detroit, their backfields are just on fire right now. On fire. And I'm going to go against something I said a few minutes ago. I think you got to start Ridley and Matt Ryan this week. I think that it's it's not. It's a great matchup. Against the Washington team that just got destroyed, right? So you got a great matchup there. They're both due, especially Ridley. They're both due. And then, as we talked about already, Antonio Brown and Tom Brady. If you have that combo, that's a no-brainer. And Brandon Cooks is a low-key start of the week. This dude does nothing but catch the ball. He doesn't see the end zone a lot. So if you're in a PPR league or a half-point PPR, I mean, he's going to get you 15 to 20 points a week. That's just what he's been doing. And start of the week, gold stamp, 100% start of the week. You're starting him already, but Josh Allen against the Texans. Holy shit. This is in Buffalo against one of the worst defenses in football. I'm a fan of the Texans. This is not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
This is not going to be pretty at all. Lock it down. Josh Allen, 40 points. I don't even think it might be over 40. It might be over 40. He spent his first 2 weeks shitting on his owners that spent up to get him. And week 3, he came back strong. And I think he has an even better week. I mean, I'd say 303, 101, or 102. I mean, this defense is porous at best, and you're playing in Buffalo. I don't know what the weather is supposed to be like up in Buffalo, but I don't really think it matters.
Doesn't matter.
So what you got, Ferg?
All right, I'm gonna go at the aforementioned Cooper Kupp. I'm gonna go Coop this week.
Oh my!
We talked about him enough. I hate to keep saying his name; brings me nightmares. Brady against New England, definite start. All you Mahomes owners I'm a Mahomes owner in several leagues who are getting a little nervous.
Don't be
like this Philly defense is coming. You saw what Dak and them did to this Philly defense. Mahomes, I'm gonna say 415 and 4 touchdowns passing. Maybe 3 touchdowns and 1 rush, and he'll steal one.
Who the Chiefs got this week?
Philly.
Oh,
the Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles.
Is it at home?
That is a good question. It might be at Philly. It might be at Philly. It doesn't matter. They can play.
It doesn't matter.
They can play at Reedsville Community Stadium. It's not gonna matter. Play. Stafford against the Cardinals this week. Cardinals defense not good. Not very good
Stafford
at all.
against anybody, bro.
And Stafford is balling. I don't know. A lot of people haven't been on him or haven't been watching, but Deebo Samuel has firmly grasped the number 1 receiver role in there. He's getting all the targets. It doesn't matter whether Lance gets in the 4th series or 2 or Jimmy G. And Seahawks defense, if you didn't know already, the Legion of Boom is dead. They have been dead and buried for like 2 years. Deebo's going to feast this week against the Seahawks. And, of course, the King Henry against that Jets defense.
I mean, look, and without A.J. Brown, with a hurt Julio Jones, if Julio Jones doesn't play, Derrick Henry might not be the best play. That might sound counterproductive, but who else are they going to throw to? I mean, yes, Derrick Henry can run through a brick wall, but can he run through 10 of them? Because that's what's going to be surrounding him if Julio's not on the field.
Do the Jets have 10? Do they really have 10 walls?
No.
3.
I was signed to the practice squad last week.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Once he gets that Quentin Williams, it's over.
Right. It's not good. It's not good. Like the Jets defense, not good. Hey, Barbie, what's happening? I don't know if you joined late, but Ferg was talking about his demise to you and Hoofnagel. So you would have enjoyed that portion of the show.
He knows.
But yeah.
Could your defending state champs score a TD against the Jets? No, but they could get a first down. They could get a first down. They could get a first down.
They could get a first down. I'll agree with first down. They're not. No, Merrill. Come on now. That's that old adage. Could Alabama beat Cleveland when Cleveland was 0-16? Your answer was always no. Your answer was always no to that. So just FYI, in case you don't remember those conversations. All right. So any more that you have that you want to add to this list, Mr. Ferg, before we get into the Thursday night showdown, if you will?
I give one more start off. So I haven't heard, it's Wednesday. I haven't heard whether Henderson Jr. is going to play this week or not. If not,
I haven't yet either.
I'll roll the dice with Sony Michel again. He looked decent out there, and Tampa Bay was supposed to be the stick on defense. They look terrible. Another comment we just left out.
Okay.
I see Reedsville in the comments again. Our residents, Ravens fans, Didi, I see you. The Jets are ass, Didi. You are 100%.
They are ass.
Correct.
Yes.
They are ass. That's an insult to ass.
Yes.
Basically, though.
No. So I will say, Ferg, in the defense of the Bucs run defense, they were playing the best team in the NFL that has the most weapons in the NFL right now, as far as that receiver goes, right? They are just playing the best. They're scheming the best. The play calling is the best. Cooper Kupp is the best right now. Like, you cannot say anything different. He may not be the best receiver in football, but as far as fantasy goes, numero uno, my friend. So he is where the buck starts and stops, and so they had more to worry about than just somebody running the ball. You know what I mean? So, all right. So let's talk about this Thursday night matchup of Titans. Not really. So you got the Jags against the Bengals. So for all of y'all that are paying attention, this is the rematch of the 2020 National Championship game. And that one didn't go Trevor Lawrence's way. So I don't think this one is either. Trevor Lawrence is completing 50% of his passes on the year. And for all y'all keeping score out there, that shit ain't good. So he needs to step up his game, or Urban Meyer needs to just be better and put him in better positions. Now, Urban Meyer did do something against the grain for him. He did go back on everything that he showed us in the preseason, and he's starting to play James Robinson. James Robinson is getting the majority of the touches. Carlos Hyde is back to playing second fiddle. I mean, he out-touched him 15-8 as far as rushing the ball goes. He got 6 passes. So it was like a 21-9 final touch count between Robinson and Carlos Hyde. And, James Robinson is the only – he's one of 2 viable fantasy plays on the Jaguars, the other one being Marvin Jones Jr. This dude is a target machine. He did not have a great week last week, didn't have a terrible week last week, but his previous 2 weeks have been money. And so Marvin Jones is a great, great flex play, and you're definitely starting James Robinson. On the other end of the spectrum, Deborah, are you talking about his Jets jersey? That's a homage to Sam Darnold and his Panthers. So yeah. All right. So, and on the other side of the ball with the Bengals, you got Joe Mixon. You're starting Joe Mixon for sure. 100% locked and loaded. He's the number 1 running back. Then you got Jamar Chase because, he's been great. But what can you say? Dude's been great. And you don't have any T. Higgins. He didn't practice yesterday, and he didn't practice today. And their game's tomorrow. So this dude's not practicing. He ain't playing. And then you can start Burrow. You can stream Burrow. I would feel comfortable doing that against the Jaguars. What about you, Ferg?
I actually, I think I left him out of my week 4s. I actually say Joe Burrow ends up as a top 8 play this week.
Wow.
I think that they get all on Jacksonville. I don't know how many national appearances Cincinnati is going to make this year. I think Burrow and Chase together have a flashback. They look across the field. They see Lawrence. They remember that game. They remember smoking those cigars. They remember OBJ giving out all that cash in the locker room. And I say, I'm going to go on record. I say Burrow to Chase alone, 163 yards, 2 tutties.
That's not bad. Maryland, man. I mean, both defenses have been so bad, dude. I would, depending on how much you're paying, I wouldn't pay any more than $6K for Jamar. I would say probably around the 5,800, 5,600 range. I mean, he may be 5,900, and that would be okay. James Robinson should be pretty cheap still. If he has one more great week, he probably won't be cheap anymore. So maybe you can cash in on him. Burrow might be cheap. I think he'll probably be super cheap because he's been trashed this year. Marvin Jones is going to be pretty cheap. But like with Trevor Lawrence, like he might be throwing the ball 30 times a game, but if he's only completing 50% of his passes and he's got Chark, Chenault, and Marvin Jones that and James Robinson that he's trying to throw to, I wouldn't go any of their receivers unless it's Marvin Jones. I would if he's less than 6K. What is the cap? You guys playing captain's pick. I'm not a huge DFS guy. So, who is Cleveland playing? They're playing the Ravens?
They're playing the Ravens.
No. They're playing the Vikings. They're playing the Vikings. Oh, go Burrow. Jacksonville's terrible. The Vikings have actually showed some life, but it's in Cleveland. I would go Burrow there for sure. Does captain's pick give you more points? Is that what the deal is with that? Because I'm not 100%.
That wasn't the DraftKings guy.
Yeah, I mean, DFS captain is the player who will have the most points. Chase, I mean, depends on how much you're willing to spend. Depends on how much you're willing to spend, bro. I mean, I don't know. I might go Brady here. I mean, I think he's going to try to light their asses up. I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be respectful at all, and I'm okay with it. I'm here for it. I might go Brady, depending if you're willing to pay for him or not, because he's probably going to be in the $7 to $8 level more than likely. So it just depends on if you're looking value, man. I mean, a great sneaky pick would be Antonio Gibson. I mean, they're playing the Falcons on Monday night. So, no, it's Sunday. So they're playing the Falcons, though. The Falcons are terrible, and it's inside. So Antonio Gibson might not be a bad pick, depending on how much you can pay for him. So, Ferg, you got anything else to add for the Thursday night game that we haven't talked about already? Anybody else have any questions or drop some comments?
I saw somebody say Chase. That was a stretch with Chase. I'm just going to give you one number here. Now, we know Cooper Kupp is Cooper Kupp. We know who this guy is. He's got 92 fantasy points this year through 3 weeks. Leading rookie receiver with most points. Leading rookie, period, with the most points. This includes quarterbacks, kickers, defensive players, whoever you want to kick. Jamar Chase with 56 fantasy points this year. So to say that if you've watched that Jags defense play this year and you saw what the Cardinals receivers did to him, Jamar Chase is going to have a fucking field day. It's going to get ridiculous. If he doesn't get 163, it's because the game got out of hand and they're just not throwing the ball anymore. That's the only reason.
Yeah, I think Burrow goes to refer at 303 easy money, unless they decide to run the ball 30 times with Joe Mixon, which is altogether possible, you guys. So it just really depends. I mean, if Joe Mixon grabs that ball, and I don't know if anybody, this may pain Ferg, I don't know if anybody out there is college football fans, and you saw that North Carolina ass whooping over Miami last year when they went down to Miami, but Michael Carter took the first play of the game, broke a tackle, went 13 yards. Now, 13 yards may not seem like a lot, but he broke a tackle, stiff-armed somebody, and we ran for like 300 yards that night. So, like, if Mixon breaks off a run first possession of the game, it might be a 30-carry night for Joe Mixon.
It might.
So, who knows? But Jamar Chase is going to get his. Don't sleep. I mean, if it's 60, if it's 4 for 60 and a touchdown, it's 4 for 60 and a touchdown, and that's 16 points. So, you got to take it. You got to take it. He's gonna get his. So I like the Jamar Chase pick, Ferg. So I'm with you on that train. But I also have him, so I have to be more confident to make myself feel better. So,
because Joe Burrow is Barbie's quarterback in our league of records, so you would think he would want him to go for 303 yards, unless you're playing against Jamar Chase. I don't know. I have to look at his matchup, see who he's playing against.
No, he's not playing me. So I'm going to say no to that.
Oh, you should be all in on Burrow tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. For Barbie, give him some positive energy because he needs it to get the 303. I want it. Oh, you have Lamar. Yeah. Well, he might have Burrow and Lucky 13 or something.
Okay.
So, but I mean, Lamar, you got to play every week. Is there any final questions or anything like that? We've wrapped up the show, what we had for the show today. If anybody has any questions, Barbie, you need to think more about that trade that I sent you the other day, and hit me up and let me know. Since we're all talking up Jamar Chase, unless you're gonna wait for Thursday night and see what Jamar does. So give 5 more seconds for any final questions to come across the chat. All right. So next week, Merrill is going to explain DFS. He's going to explain, break it down, apparently for the degenerate gamblers that are amongst us and for the aspiring degenerate gamblers among us. My name is Clint. Champ. This is Ferg. Ferg, stop doing that when I say that. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, 7:30. To all you guys out there in Fantasyland, good luck. Make the right decisions. And do not forget, take your players out of flex. Out of flex that are playing. Put anybody that may be questionable in your flex. Put all your Thursday night players in your lineup. Leave them out of your flex. And if you have any other questions, hit us up you can go to the NC100 Facebook page, Instagram page, YouTube page. You can go to the Joe Schmo Sports Show, which is SCHMO, or J Schmo Sports on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and drop us any questions, comments. We will definitely be there to answer. And hope you guys have a great week. Good luck on your teams, and we'll see you next Wednesday.